Where do the Phoenix Suns go from here? You see, they have just been swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. We are truly watching the passing of the torch here, as not only is Kevin Durant's prime nearing its end, but so is his career. And Anthony Edwards is just getting started. I can't wait to see everything that this young man accomplishes on the basketball court. But, for now, let's take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves and Phoenix Suns series, at least what it was like heading into the matchup. Because although the Phoenix Suns were the lower seed, they were favorited. They were actually, supposed to be the biggest upset in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And that clearly didn't happen. Now, why did people, analysts, and fans alike have the Phoenix Suns winning this series? Well, 3 reasons actually. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. They honestly believed, as did I, that would be enough for the Phoenix Suns to get the job done. And clearly it wasn't. And this showed in just the first game of the series. You see, the Phoenix Suns held it together for about 1 quarter in this matchup before they absolutely fell apart, and the rest of the series just felt this way. You see, in the second quarter, the Minnesota Timberwolves were nearly unstoppable, shot about 50% from the field, couldn't miss, while the Phoenix Suns basically struggled. I mean, everyone outside of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal could not put the ball in the hoop, and that is when the Minnesota Timberwolves truly broke away in this one. And before we continue on with this video, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and subscribe to the channel. It really goes a long way. We're on the road to 3,000. I feel like we can get there, in the next coming months at this rate. But alright, let's get back to the video. And of course, they would go on to lose that game, 95-120. This brings us to game 2 of the series, the Jaden McDaniels game. You see, Jaden McDaniels really took over in this one, had a fantastic performance against the Phoenix Suns, and honestly shut both their superstars, all 3 of their superstars, down on the defensive side. Jaden McDaniels put up 25 points on 10 for 17 shooting, even knocked down a few threes, had about 8 rebounds and 3 assists. He was phenomenal this game. Now, let's get to the Phoenix Suns. And I think the important thing to take away for the Phoenix Suns is that outside of the big 3, they had absolutely no scoring. 31 points came from every player outside of the big 3, and their 4th leading scorer was a 35-year-old Eric Gordon off the bench. No offense to Eric Gordon. He has been a fantastic role player and lasted in the league longer than anyone would have imagined. But if he's your 4th leading scorer in the NBA playoffs in 2024, you're doing something wrong. And of course, Grayson Allen didn't really show up for this Phoenix Suns team like he had been in the regular season. Grayson Allen in the regular season was electric. A good, solid role player alongside these superstars. And honestly, when Grayson Allen was popping off, the Phoenix Suns were essentially guaranteed a win. On the season, Grayson Allen went out and averaged about 13.5 points per game, nearly 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. However, he was most effective behind the arc, as he shot 46% from the 3-point line on the season, on about 6 shots a night. So he was consistently putting up 3s and making them at a high volume. A very important scoring piece that the Phoenix Suns needed outside of the big 3. And proof of Grayson Allen's importance is a game about a week or so before the playoffs began against the same Minnesota Timberwolves, where, can you guess what happened? The Suns went out and won this game by nearly 20 points, and that's because Grayson Allen shot 8 for 11 from the field and 20 points, that night. And the reason I mention this is because Grayson Allen, in the 2 games he did play in this series, didn't perform to that level. And of course, he would go on to get injured, and after his injury, as weird as it is to say, the Suns losing this series was, written into stone. And that brings us to game 3, which was the Anthony Edwards show. Now, this guy balled out the entire series, but in game 3, he had 36 points, shot 12 from 23 from the field, had about, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and only 1 foul. Anthony Edwards was phenomenal in Game 3, and honestly, the reason they won this game is because they outscored the Phoenix Suns by 16 points in the 3rd quarter. Hell, the Phoenix Suns were so desperate in this game that they decided to give Bol 7 minutes. Frank Vogel was panicking, didn't know how to stop the big guys, like Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, or even slow down Anthony Edwards. He was just throwing stuff at the wall at this point, and it didn't work because the Minnesota Timberwolves would go on to win this game 126-109. And can you guess how many teams have been able to recover from down 0-3 in the playoffs? 0. The answer is 0. Maybe my Los Angeles Lakers will be the first team to do it. Who knows? You'll know by the time this video comes out. But anyway, Game 4 rolls around, and Bradley Beal's talking to the media saying he's never been swept a day in his life. He'll be damned if he lets it happen. Well, can you guess what? Yeah, Bradley Beal is sure as hell damned right now because this team got swept. And the Phoenix Suns, to be fair, put up a really good fight in this 4th game. They were not trying to go home. They were trying to head back to Minnesota for a Game 5. And if you give Kevin Durant an inch, he'll run a mile, right? Because that's how great Kevin Durant is. Unfortunately, we didn't see that in this game because Anthony Edwards, while only having 9 points in the first half, ended the game with 40 points. He was basically unstoppable in the second half of this game. However, he credits most of their Game 4 success to Karl-Anthony Towns, who had a little run of his own, ended up scoring 28 points and had 10 rebounds. And without Karl-Anthony Towns, really holding the Minnesota Timberwolves in this game while Anthony Edwards was struggling, they probably wouldn't have been able to sweep the Suns. Honestly, I don't know where the Suns go from here. With their 3 superstars making an absolute bag, they're kind of just hard stuck with this trio. You see, Kevin Durant is set to make $51 million next year and $54 million the year after that, where he will be 37 years old. Not everybody is LeBron James and can basically play until he's 40, right? Who knows how hard Kevin Durant's decline will come. Maybe he won't ever fall off and we won't ever see him at the end of the rotation, but the same can't be said for Bradley Beal, who is 30 years old. He is set to make not only $50 million next year, but $53 million the year after that. And 3 years from now, he has a player option worth $57 million. Will he give up that player option? Absolutely not. Chris Paul didn't. That's why his ass isn't here anymore. At 33 years old, with the way Bradley Beal's playing, he's not giving up that $57 million player option. And then you've got Devin Booker, who I don't mind Devin Booker's contract, honestly. He is 27. He has been with this franchise his entire career. Devin Booker will probably stick around for this next era of Suns basketball when it does come. But, he is set to make $60 million until the 2027-28 season. So he is also on the books for a long time. And outside of them, the only other person taking up, a good amount of cap space is Jusuf Nurkic, who's making about, $18 million for the next 2 years. Both years he'll be making 18 and 19 million. So they could decide maybe free up some money by moving on from him. Who knows how that's going to affect their salary and if they can even get an upgrade over Nurkic with that kind of money. The Phoenix Suns are going to have to rebuild through the draft. Oh wait, they don't have any draft picks until what, 2031? Yeah, they're kind of screwed. They have no draft capital. Their superstars' value is only decreasing day by day, and they are stuck paying nearly their entire salary to these stars who weren't able to get a single win in the NBA playoffs. Do they make a coaching change? Is Frank Vogel out of town? I mean, there were reports as soon as the series ended about how Frank Vogel, no one took this man seriously as a coach. So he'll probably be gone after those reports came out. That's kind of the only realistic move that this new owner, Mr. Matt, can make for the Phoenix Suns, is getting a new coaching hire. Who will it be? No idea. They basically threw away that core that got them to the NBA Finals in 2021. The Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, Mikal Bridges. Yeah, they threw all of that out the window to acquire Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and they let go of DeAndre Ayton for Grayson Allen. Now, that was a good trade. That trade I don't mind. And honestly, I make that Kevin Durant trade, if I'm them, 9 out of 10 times. I'm willing to do that over and over again. The only trade I have a problem with is Bradley Beal. I feel like they're already regretting making that deal, and it's been, less than a year at this point. You know, if I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, I'm in absolute shambles right now, and I just pray that they're able to find the right role players to put around them for the 2025 campaign. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Really just want to talk about the NBA playoffs. You know, as we're heading into the second round, more videos will be coming out. So make sure to tune in, like, and subscribe to the channel. You know, catch y'all later. Much love.